You're listening to Rodney Rogers Outdoors Radio, where we turn it upside down and look at the outside from the inside out. It's safe, it's legal, and we're having a blast. So put your shoes on, my friend, because we're going outdoors.
Welcome to Rodney Rogers Outdoors. I'm Rodney Rogers. That over there is my partner, Coach Easton Crime, the man himself, Michael
Howdy
Man
ho,
Coy.
Rodney.
How are you, brother?
I'm good.
Man, we had another 3-day weekend after all these weekends we've had. It's just, I don't know what to do with all that time off.
What are you talking about?
I had Martin Luther King Day.
Oh, man.
First time in...
You're the one.
I'm the guy
You
that
did,
had
really?
it off.
Oh.
I've never had that day off.
Well, congratulations.
Just
to
so you know that, you know, the upper echelon or the of the Universal Studios, we take that day off.
Well, you know what's funny is I got to work that day.
Oh,
When I got to work, I play Spotify usually at my desk, and I launched it and it's like, play the Martin Luther King Spotify playlist. I'm like, that sounds cool.
Why not?
Let's do that. Why not? Started playing like Happy Birthday. I'm like, that's an odd song to play when you're celebrating his death. But I guess Martin Luther King Day is actually his birthday. So the birthday song made total sense all of a sudden.
Suddenly it was all clear.
It's like, yeah, that's much better. It makes way more sense.
That is awesome. Well, check us out. If you're watching right now, I have our Periscope going. You can check us out on RodneyRogersOutdoors.com. You can shoot us, if you're on Twitter, you can shoot us a direct message. It'll go right to Mike's side of the table to hashtag RROR. And we're gonna be talking about weather tonight. If you want to know what we're gonna be talking about after all of our hoopla, if you can think up a question between now and then, you can also give us a call at 262-345-7763 if you want to participate and ask the question directly. And then Mike has this awesome. I'm sorry, man, Mike. I'm just all over your features here, man.
Yeah, I hate it when you use Mike and awesome in the same sentence. Ugh.
And then apologize for it, right?
Gag me with a spoon.
Like it really wasn't awesome. If you go to our website at Rodney Rogers Outdoors, you can click on the tab at the top that says Watch Us Live. But if you look to the right side, it said Send a Voicemail.
Yeah.
And you can send us a direct voicemail right here to the show. We'll listen to it. Actually, you can do that 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And we'll play it on the next show, and we'll always answer that, and we'll always have you in our hearts. Excuse me, right there. Mike, am I missing anything? We got...
I didn't program the website yet to have them in our hearts yet.
Boy, it's going to almost go to our hearts.
Okay.
So if we could get that to our
Coming
hearts.
soon.
Coming soon.
Stay tuned. When you leave your voicemail, it'll stay in our hearts.
Or...
Not
okay.
sure about that feature.
To
We'll have to work out the bugs on that feature.
Try to make it a little warm, fuzzy voicemail thing. Can we put fuzzy stuff on it?
I love it.
So and I can't even. You can come in the studio, just knock on the door. Gets a secret password is I'm here. If you know where we're at.
Talk to the executive producer. She'll let you in.
Yeah. Let me know how that goes for you when you get here.
Hey, I forgot to tell you. I found it.
What?
I found the key
To
my gun.
Oh, did you? So Mike had a dilemma. He has a gun lock on his gun, and Mike had lost the key at some point after the Everglades escapade.
I know.
Till now, right?
Yep.
Till recently. 5 years.
I know.
Thank God.
So we were trying to decide when we were sitting on the couch the other night, and I was like, well, now I got to find some place to keep the key or not lock it, but
right.
The way it locks, I'm like, you kind of need to leave it latched or the door handle. But he was like, well, where are you going to keep the gun? And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to, because I've been having it in the office. And I said, I think I'm going to keep it in my drawer next to the bed.
There you go.
And you know what? After 10 years, 20 years of being with this lady, you know what her response was when I said I'm going to keep it next to the bed?
By the bed?
You know what she said?
What'd she say?
That's hot.
No way.
That's hot.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Mike has a gun
Yeah.
in the drawer. Mike.
So, Rodney,
Well,
anytime you want to talk guns, man, I'm in because I'm a gun owning, that's hot kind of guy.
I'm a gun-toting NRA membershiping.
I didn't know it was hot,
It's kind of hot.
but that's hot.
Wait a minute, the gun's hot, or it's just a hot situation?
No, I don't even care. I don't care.
Oh,
But the look on her face was like, that gun is staying in the
that
bedroom.
drawer.
Yeah.
Oh man, just imagine if you actually put bullets in it, Mike. This is a whole nother level here.
It's so funny you say that, because she's like, you keep it loaded, and I said, well, they're in the clip, and she's like, oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
oh yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I can assure you, my house is not childproof when it comes to guns. If you trip and fall down in my house, something's going off. There are guns everywhere.
Well, that's the difference. I mean, that we don't have children,
Yeah, that's
child
the,
at home
yeah, that's,
anymore, so it is
exactly.
different, you know.
Yeah, I was going to tell you. Yeah, you're here, you're alone, you don't have kids anymore. Take the lock off.
Yeah.
We just got to learn how to work that thing.
I think there's a trigger or something. It's time to go back out to the range. I would like.
I have a range. We now have my nephew's range now. He said we can come out there and shoot any time.
For reals.
Yeah, so we're going to take. We got some rifles. We're going to take. We've got another episode of.
Yes.
Our episode coming up.
Outside Opinions.
Outside Opinions coming up. So we're going to be shooting there. That's where we're going to be shooting. So we're going to be shooting. We're going to take advantage of that situation and shoot some firearms,
I'd
man.
love to do that, Rodney.
That's going to be awesome. So we got that coming up. So when you free up, we'll pop that in on our schedule. Mike, how was your weekend? You work pretty much this weekend?
It is a busy time
Yeah.
in our non-outdoor profession.
Did you look at our? I did some fishing this weekend.
I saw that.
Yeah, I took a picture of one of my favorite signs: "Catch and release fishing only." You don't see that very often, so I had to give that one kudos when I saw it. I was like, okay, we need a picture of that. We didn't fish that pond though. We just took a picture of the sign.
Well, I thought so because you had I couldn't tell where the fish. You caught a bunch of fish. Where was the fish you caught?
Everywhere. We went to probably 10 different ponds.
Okay.
And we just fished. I fished several lures. My buddy stuck to our grubs, our dirty skirts, and he fished those, and that's all he caught his fish on. He actually swamped us when it come to the amount of fish.
On the dirty skirts. On the Rodney Rogers dirty skirts.
On the Rodney Rogers dirty skirts. He caught the most fish. Of course, I caught the biggest,
Yeah, of course.
Probably a fluke. So we had a blast. This is my best friend that I went to third grade with. We've been friends for 40 years.
Wow.
And, he said, man, we had a family reunion Saturday.
Oh, how'd that go?
So all the family that's watching.
How did that go?
It went absolutely amazing. I mean, it's just how you want a family reunion to go. We've got the family together. This group hasn't been that together in years.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Was Mom there?
Mom was there.
Excellent.
Absolutely. I think the last time we all got together, I even said, when Grandma sets her teeth on the hood of the car, things are about to get real. You know what I'm saying? So my aunt looks at me because I posted that on Facebook. She goes, Rodney, I just want to know, when did Grandma put her teeth? I said, it was a joke. It's just, I do that sometimes. You're going to have to stick with me here. Well, I was going to say, I don't remember that. And I go, nobody does because it didn't happen.
It's all about the story.
Yeah, we absolutely had a blast. I stayed at my sister's that night, and it was good. And then Sunday and Monday, I really just vegged out. Actually, we got the tournament fishing coming up, so basically
Is that next weekend?
It's next weekend, and I pulled out all my fishing gear and basically just sorted out, what I need to get at Bass Pro Shop. So I've got to get some different rigs, because this time of the year, again, we're going to be talking about weather. You got to kind of change up how you're going to fish this cold water. So I'm missing some of that terminal tackle. So
it really is overwhelming if you don't know what you're looking for at a Bass Pro Shop.
It is. And you and I haven't even walked in there to try to narrow down some stuff, and it's just
we got to do it again.
And pick a season. You know what I mean? You can let's dissect it real quick.
Yeah.
You can dissect it, to seasons and tackle. I mean, you can really pull it apart. Okay, we're fishing winter. here's a good thing to fish for the winter, that kind of thing. So yeah, we can actually do that.
It's a really, I mean, it is because Kim and I went in there before the camping trip or before New Year's when her and I went up to
Right to
and I'm like, well,
River Ranch.
yeah, so let's stop in and get some stuff. And you know what? I'll be honest with you, we walked out, going, what I've got's probably good.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know. You know, I thought,
Right.
oh, I want a golden repella because I've lost one, so I wanted to get another one.
Right.
And I didn't even know where to look for the golden repella. They have so much stuff in there, you know. And, you know, I just thought,
Maybe that's
I pulled
the
the
thing,
plug and said,
because I know Bass Pro will let us in there and do whatever we want. They'll open up for us. We can dissect those aisles and show people how to pick that apart. So maybe that's
it'd be phenomenal because I mean, I mean, I've been hanging out with you for quite a while doing this, and but to go into the stores and you know, I know some basic names and stuff, but from an elementary point of view, that'd be a great way to do it. I mean, I know
that's
I would
not a
love
bad
that.
idea. So let me work on that. I
Okay.
think we won't have a problem doing that.
'Cause there's a lot of stuff in there, boy.
What? They got a lot of stuff.
But now the flip side is that's where going into some place like your local bait and tackle, where you
Yeah.
can just talk to the guy behind the counter and go, "What's up? What do I need?"
Yeah, your prime example. Now you're going to have your local bait and tackles, like we got our go-to Black Dog Baits.
Yeah.
You just walk in and say, "Hey, what are they biting?" And the key is if they tell you they legitimately want you to catch fish, because if you're successful, guess what? You go back to that bait shop to ask them every time you're at the bait shop.
Yeah.
And that's what I like, about
Yep.
Black Dogs. They're always there to answer my questions. And
Yep.
I tell you what, every time they told me a location and what to catch them on, plow. And it's not because I'm Rodney Rogers Outdoors. It's
Sure.
because, at that time they didn't even know me when I first started going in there. They didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
They just gave me the location, and I went, hey, you know what? That's what I want in a bait shop.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot to say for that.
absolutely. And I've said it a million times. If they don't give you that, if a bait shop doesn't give you that personal attention, you being a fisherman, you probably need to go to another bait shop.
Do you ever say Rodney Rogers Outdoors so much you think like Outdoors is your last name? Introduce yourself as like I'm Rodney Rogers Outdoors.
It's funny you ask.
Middle name Rogers.
Because people are starting to notice, when I wear my shirt,
Yeah.
Rodney Rogers Outdoors, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not really.
Mr. Outdoors.
That would be cool.
I know.
I wonder if Bill Dance ever had that problem. Mr. Outdoors.
You know what? I was thinking, totally off subject. Of course, we don't have a subject yet.
Right.
So that we're not really off subject. We're still just chatting. I was thinking, a lot of people are dying.
Mike, there's going to be more. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there.
A lot of celebrities and musicians
Yes.
that chat about.
Yeah.
Are there? I just don't know the names, but
Are there some greats?
No, some outdoors celebrities. I know there are. You just mentioned Bob Dance or Bill Dance.
You got Bill Dance, Roland Martin. You know what? Maybe that'd be a show as well to talk about those greats. We are an outdoor show. Jose.
I would enjoy that actually.
Yeah. A great one that passed away a few years ago is Jose Wahibi. He started the show Spanish Fly, and he pretty much ran on the premise that we're running on is let's just grab a pole and fish. He lived in Miami, and it's just what he does. His foundation has continued. So, and I went to his memorial, and I'm going to tell you what, it filled up the IGFA.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't get a parking spot because the IGFA and the Bass Pro Shop are side by side right there in Fort Lauderdale.
IGFA. Oh, I thought that was a grocery store.
No, it's International Game Fish
That makes more
Association, which
Okay.
is where they hold all the world records.
Okay.
So international. So I mean, it's when they say world, they mean all over the world.
Okay.
So, that's where they had the memorial, and you couldn't even get in the door. I mean, it was thousands of people there at his memorial.
Wow.
And I was really happy that we made it. Now, even though we didn't get inside to actually, participate, we saw all the greats. I mean, Mark Sosin. I mean, I can just start blabbing off names, and maybe we'll do that. We'll just pop up.
It's a curious conversation, if nothing else, because, I mean, outside of, well, celebrities usually come about because of TV or radio, obviously, but
Right.
I mean, outdoors, it's just not a,
Yeah.
I
It's only to the outdoors people. It sounds weird, but an outdoors person is famous to an outdoors person.
It makes sense. But also, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but just.
But they exist.
I'll take your word for it.
I think your overall question is, you know what? You don't hear about them a lot.
You don't hear about them a lot.
So, yeah, I mean, are they there? Yeah, they're definitely there.
But I think that's why, I mean, one reason for us is our promotion on this show is not is not celebrities or any kind of status. Is just get outdoors. I mean,
Absolutely.
I think to me that's why I want to engage the people who listen and watch and follow this show, is because, quite honestly, they're the people I want to put the spotlight on. They're the stars.
Oh, absolutely.
The people getting outside, just like you, just like
doing with us.
Yeah, exactly.
Around us, and I think that's what I think makes that whole situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've talked about it before, but I think that's why we really think that this is our show, meaning everybody who's doing it.
Absolutely.
Call in, come in, be a guest on the show. Let's do an outside opinion,
Absolutely.
a review show with you. Let's go fishing in your fishing hole. Let's give us the key to your house so we can come drink and eat your food. I don't know where I was going with that.
Drink your drinks and eat your food. You know what? I'm going to touch on outside opinions real quick.
Okay.
Now, for all of you listening, if you I don't know if you ride a bike outdoors, if you're a mountain biker,
Yeah.
or just a beach goer, or you have a hobby with a metal detector. It's not that I'm reaching. I mean,
No.
we want to review those things. So basically, what it is we want to come to your house, review your things that you've had for for any length of time.
And you can even be home.
Yeah,
if you want to. I mean, you have to.
Preferably if you are home, because we have a key to everything.
Yeah.
Mike found the key.
I got the key now.
With that key, he can use his gun, and we're getting in your house.
But if you take a moment, you just think for a minute. Anything, if you sit and go, what do I have
right,
that we could do reviews on, and think outside the box. It's not, it could be an app on the phone that you use, or something for your boat, or a piece of clothing that you just love, and that you would endorse, or something you would want to tell people, do not buy this piece of crap.
Right, we'll go both ways.
Yeah. It does not do anything they told me on the commercial or advertised,
right.
or some. But more than anything, it's something that you would endorse and you would buy again.
Absolutely, and we want to do a video. If you go to our YouTube channel and you look under how does our YouTube? What's the category I'm looking for? Videos, and then it has.
I know what you're saying. There's podcasts, and then there's
it's got
other things.
Anyway, you got other buttons on there. Hit one of the tabs, and
just keep hitting buttons, and you're gonna find something you want to watch.
It brings up all of our. It has segregated all of our videos. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
I'm just. And then you click on outside opinions.
Yep.
And you'll see the first one we did is on the line cutters, which he texted me like at 10 o'clock last night.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So we'll talk about that.
But that's a perfect example. We're talking first, which is one of the reasons we picked that is because it's something so simple.
Yeah.
It's a ring that cuts fishing line.
Exactly. It's a $10 gadget.
And we spent a half hour talking about a $10 gadget.
And I've used it for so much more than the purpose of what this thing is for that we haven't even touched on, and that's what he texted me on last night.
So mull it over. Think about it, I mean, if you're sitting at home, think of all the things that you could potentially, engage with us and invite us over for dinner. And
absolutely. Cook pernil and rice if you can.
Hey, there's a review. Give us a review on your recipe.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of which, man, we're going to...
Not yet.
Okay.
Where are you going with that?
I got a question.
Yeah, it's on viewer mail.
Okay, yeah. So.
Thought so.
Okay, I'll wait on that one.
See, I know everything you are.
That's because I'm sitting across from you for 2 years, pulling the same.
I know.
Crap.
Do we have any kind of top stories? What do you want to talk about?
Let me tell you what I got. Top stories, and I was trying to dig it up here. I was trying to see if it was on our outdoor fishing. A 12-year-old catches a perch.
Really?
Yes, and I'm trying to get her name up here, and they haven't even got it on the outdoor website yet. This one, I guess. Oh man! Wow. So anyway, 12-year-old catches a perch up north, pulls it out of the ice, and she holds it up. they weigh it and they're trying to send it in to see if it's a state record because no one has ever seen the perch. This 12-year-old not only exceeded the state record, but she caught the world record
Really?
perch out of this frozen pond. And I thought that was absolutely amazing. So I'm going to see if you have any top news, and I'm going to find this
All right.
while you're talking about your top news. How's that sound?
That's perfect. Well, keep in mind that anytime I go to this camera angle, we can all actually see your screen
Oh, right
to
on.
know if you're working or if you're playing Pac-Man or just
Or solitaire.
yeah, watching YouTube videos in your
I
own
like
time.
that, Mike. I says, oh, no wonder I'm not signed in. Okay.
You know what I'm going to do while you're signing in?
Yes.
I'm going to read one of the BC law enforcement stories of the week.
Awesome. I like it.
You like that?
I love it.
Then here's the one for
We
this
didn't have
week.
one last week.
No, you know why? Because we chatted and
We did. We had the author.
did other things. Okay, so let me read. Officer McColgan and Lieutenant Barrett were conducting a late-night patrol in Pine Island South, targeting illegal commercial net fishing. And I want your opinion on this too, Rodney. So,
Absolutely.
log in and listen at the same time.
I am.
They were targeting illegal commercial net fitting. Fitting.
Netflix and chilling.
The officers observed, wow. It's like 40 degrees outside. My lips are still cold on the motorcycle.
This is hilarious.
The officer observed a mullet boat operating nearby their location without navigation lights. So I suppose that's the first
Yep.
telltale sign. Through their use of advanced optics,
Night vision.
night vision, the officers were able to close on the fishing vessel under the cover of darkness. When the officers were approximately 100 yards of the fishing vessel, they observed a subject retrieving a large net. The officers activated the emergency lights and conducted a vessel stop.
Scary feeling right there.
Yeah, your heart's pounding.
Yeah.
Well, scary for who? The officers or the people being approached?
Yeah. Everything.
Okay.
Both sides. It really is.
The subject immediately gave up. Good move.
Definitely.
And was found to be using a 200-yard long monofilament gill net.
Oh, man.
What's a gill net? What's gill?
Oh, my God. Gill nets were banned in the state of Florida years ago.
Really?
Because they are very unforgiving. So what happens is the fish gets in the net and his gills get caught up, and there's no way to bring him out. The only way to get that fish out is die. Doesn't matter if it's the targeted fish or the non-targeted
Everything else it
fish.
brings up, yeah.
Absolutely. So, and it's unforgiving. It kills everything that fits in the net. It's dead. It doesn't have a chance.
Wow.
So, yeah, they've been illegal in the state of Florida for a long time. So, yeah,
Wow.
that in itself is a horrible, horrible move on these guys' part.
So a
Wow.
200-yard long monofilament gill net. Are you looking for that story?
I am while I'm talking.
Our friend Brittany here has forwarded it to me. I don't know if I can give that to Rodney quickly though. Here, Brittany. Would you like me to read it? I've got all of you. You need to come over here on my side. What I've got. Here, take that, Rodney.
Oh, that's it. You got it. Okay.
You can have that. It's a
Can
gift.
I have this?
It's a gift.
Right on.
Let me finish my story
No,
while
do
you're
your
doing
thing.
that here.
Yes.
The net was measured to be over 5,500 square feet,
Oh,
11 times the legal size. That's a large
Yeah.
net.
yes.
The fisherman was arrested and, in addition to criminal charges, faces the forfeiture of his vessel,
Oh, yeah.
outboard motor, trailer, net, as well as suspension or revocation of his saltwater products license.
Wow. Holy moly. So, okay, so let me, they may, if it's saying 5 times the length, that means he was a commercial fisherman.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah,
had a
it sounds-
commercial
yeah.
license. Okay. So with a commercial license, you're allowed a certain size gill net, which were banned at one time, but I remember a big to-do a couple years ago about bringing them back, but only a certain size.
Interesting.
So I want to do research on that because I want to know what the size is. I don't know because I'm not very familiar with the commercial side. So, yeah, this guy is going to get nailed, fined, I mean, it's just unbelievable how he's going to get beat up over that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
So I wanted to also use that story because you got to realize, and you've mentioned this before, that under some of these, when you get busted like this, you can lose.
Oh yeah,
They're more than going to take your fish away from you.
they're taking your boat,
Yeah.
any fishing poles on board, any
Yeah.
weapons on board. Everything that was on that boat now belongs to the state of Florida. I've seen them do it with airboats many times. So, not many, but a couple. So, Eagle, Idaho. 12-year-old Tia Wise and her dad went ice fishing expecting to catch some big fish. The Wises had no idea just how big the one they caught. So what she did was she caught this one and sent it in. I'm trying to get the size. Yellow perch, 2 pounds, 11.68 ounces, making it the new state record holder. After visiting Freshwater Hall of Fame, that the old record, the world record, was 2 pounds 6 ounces out of Massachusetts. So she absolutely slammed this perch. That is, here, you can have that back. You know what? Those perch are some pretty good-looking fish.
Good tasting too, right?
Apparently, they're amazing. You know what's funny is I saw a picture this weekend of my mom carrying. We had to be up north because she's got a stringer
Of perch.
of perch.
Yeah.
And I went, hey, those are perch. We don't have those down here. So I just thought that was really cool. So,
Well, I remember family vacations in Michigan. Perch was a lot of the catch we did up there.
Really?
As a kid, you know what I
Okay.
mean? That was they were little ones.
yeah, they're on average like this big from what I
Okay.
understand. Yeah, so you've caught fish that I haven't caught, Mike.
Perch.
Perch.
Yeah, I've caught like 20 peacock bass.
Man, if you'd have said 19, you'd have had me.
I overlied again, didn't
You
I?
overdid it again, Mike. Nice try. So there you
it's
go.
all about the story, isn't it, Rodney?
It is all about the story. Sometimes you have to embellish.
Where
where
would life be without the stories? We look back.
That's exactly right.
It's what draws us close to each other.
That's-
It's what we know each other by the stories, and
100%.
it's not talking about the weather. It's something
No.
deeper than that.
That's
so.
exactly right. So, Mike, how we doing?
I'm doing good. You?
Are we? Where are we at on the time clock? We at the letters? Where are we at?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
We on letters or commercial break?
We're doing whatever you want to do.
You've got mail.
Let's do it.
We get letters. We get
Stop, whoa, yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Send me an email with all the details.
Another freaking email. Another freaking email song.
Mail time. Mail time. The mail's here.
Woohoo!
Ashley from Haines City says, "Hey, Rodney, I have a question. My boyfriend's father brought deer meat home. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Rodney, I have a question. My boyfriend's father brought deer meat home. He has way more than what he knows what to do with. Any recipe suggestions?"
So, we got that question today, and I answered right away. Thank you so much.
What's your response time on questions on those?
Usually, if I get them, I respond almost immediately.
Yeah, very impressive.
Yeah. Of course, I've got notifications on all of them. You know what? Sometimes I miss one because there's so many notifications. I don't know where they popped up.
Yeah.
And I can't, because I tend to all these outlets separately.
Right.
So sometimes I've answered one a month late going, I am so sorry. I didn't know where I saw it when it gave me the notification, but I didn't know where it popped up.
And
so,
then you're like, I meant to tell you how to get that hook out of your head. Sorry, it's a month later.
Yeah. I hope you're not bleeding to death over that one. My bad.
Have any recipes for?
So I tell you what, simple recipes. Some people they when they got deer, they go, "Oh my God, what I do?" Because most of the time it's just a chunk of meat. They don't really know what the cut is. It's hard to get the cut. So or it's in a big frozen ball. So let me put a couple myths down to rest right now. You
Okay.
can thaw the meat and refreeze. Don't be afraid of that. That's a myth. Don't just do it. Just
Okay.
thaw the meat out if it's in a big chunk. When it gets cool enough, you can start doing the cutting. Then cut it up, and then put it. Now don't let it get super hot.
Yeah.
And then go from there. Now, a couple things I would do is if you don't need all that meat, I would just find someone to grind it up for you, or just buy a cheap grinder, $17 at Bass Pro Shop, and just grind it up yourself. And you can put seasoning in that ground meat, and you can use that ground meat for hamburger. I just made chili this weekend out of it. You can do sausage, you can do hamburgers, 100 different things you can do.
That's great.
Another great way, just take a big roast size piece, couple pounds, throw it in the slow cooker, season with some potatoes or whatever, and then roast it to in the slow cooker for about 6-7 hours, and then just peel it.
Ooh, yeah.
Mix barbecue sauce in, pow, you got pulled.
I
deer
thought the
roast.
grounding tip that's a great tip, because you're right. When you think of it in that terms, there's so much more you can.
Oh yeah.
You could use it in your lasagna, anything you can do with ground
that's
beef,
exactly
right?
right.
I mean, you could.
It's higher in protein,
Yeah.
lower in fat, very good for you. I mean, it's a great source of healthy protein.
I mean, just burgers alone, you could make.
What?
Right.
Absolutely. Like I said, you can do that, and then I think on there she says, and then the back strap. A lot of people, really don't know how to handle that back strap. So here's a good way to do it. Cut it in medallions, what I call medallions, little round pieces, slices of backstrap, and then, just light bread it. Do a quick fry to a medium rare. Put cream of mushroom into your pot, into your pan. Let that simmer, and then drop your little medallions in and let that sit there for about an hour just to simmer. And it's very tender, and you have just this mushroom gravy tenderloin that is just, so good.
Bread and butter.
Bread and butter. So there's a couple good recipes.
Little dipping, little sopping.
Pour it over, and I always pour that over white rice. So that is fabulous. So there's your couple good recipes there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my time's flying.
Now here we go. Dave Cross. Hey, what are the rules as far as bringing your children with you when you're hunting?
You can do it. You can. I mean, there's no age that they cannot go with you. So I've had my 3-year-old son sitting in the tree. My intention was not to take an animal. My intention was, to let my son see what I see. And we watched many, many deer, my son and daughter. So now they cannot hunt by themselves. Remember that. They cannot hunt by themselves, but they can hunt with you. But they still have to have, they have to be a licensed hunter.
Okay.
If they're 16 and above. 16 and below, they get to hunt with you, and they cannot hunt by themselves.
But can they can't even hold the gun?
Yes, if they're with you. So we got
things ringing off the hook here. Is that my mom? Will you tell her to call her back, please?
Absolutely. So, thank you for calling Rodney Rogers Outdoor. This is Rodney.
Rodney, Captain Brian Pounds, buddy.
Hey, Brian Pounds, how are you, my man?
I am doing great. How about you guys?
We are fantabulous. I'm just going to give everybody a little breast of who we're talking to right now. We are talking to Captain Brian Pounds. If you look on our website and YouTube and everywhere else, you can see our video fishing with Brian. And he put us on some redfish. I'm not going to lie. He flat out just schooled us in what to do here. So thank you for that, Brian.
Oh, so it was a pleasure, guys. That was an enjoyable day.
It was an awesome day. So Brian, what we're talking about kind of tonight is weather and how it affects fish and how it affects movements and patterns. And a guy with your credentials on that Mosquito Lagoon, do you see that a lot, being that Mosquito Lagoon is shallow?
Well, our fishery is really unique compared to everywhere else. You have a tidal flow. Some tides there's 4 tides a day, some tides 2 times a day. It all varies. But, I like to think Mosquito Lagoon is almost like bass fishing sometimes. It's just a shallow water lake. Bass fishing, summertime, you get out there early in the morning, and the bite's done around noon. And when it's cold, nobody really wants to be out there freezing. Fishing is good in the wintertime, But you know, in the winter I like to get out there a little later. You know, when the
Okay.
flats
Okay.
warm up. You know, and fish will start moving around. You know, the warmest part of the day in the winter is normally the best.
Okay. Okay. So
That's interesting.
yeah. So what we have, you know what? As many times I fish that lagoon, I've never put it in that perspective because a redfish, and I tell everybody when you're fishing, I said you're basically fishing for bass. I mean,
Right? Yeah.
they're going to act the same. They're going to ambush the same. I mean, it's pretty much, the same thing. I don't know why I didn't think about putting Mosquito Lagoon in a perspective of it's a big lake. Treat it, as
Interesting.
such.
Very interesting.
That's it. But you know, even in the summertime, we get out there early. You know, you're bass fishing on the lake in Mosquito Lagoon. You know, we look at saltwater lake. You know, they're active early, bait's moving around. When the sun comes up, you know, the mullet. You know, the bait goes down. You know, like that morning we were out there fishing. We had that huge mullet pod. First thing early, it was warm,
Yep.
hot summer. It was 4th of July, week of 4th of July, I believe.
That's exactly right.
All the bait was on top, calm conditions. Everything was active. We had tarpon rolling around. We had trout busting bait. We had redfish busting bait. You know, and once the sun came up, you know, the bait pushed down, and all the fish, the predator fish, just kind of thinned out a little bit.
N-
You know, and what happens, you know, I think ideally, my personal opinion, the perfect water temperature for red fishing is anywhere between 70 and 80 degrees. You know,
Okay.
it'll get, you know, mid 80s in the summer. But, you know, think about it as if you play golf. You go out and play golf at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a humid day, those dark greens, it gets hot out there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, those flats will do the same thing. Those dark, deep, you know, not deep, but dark grass flats,
Yep.
they're going to get that's going to get hot. That's why a lot of those fish will move to those big sand holes,
Oh yeah.
and they'll just kind of stage in those white spots. So the darker the flat, the darker the grass, that water temperature is going to warm up. But if you could find a cool spot out, a big sand hole out in the middle of that flat, those redfish and trout will go lay in that big sand hole because they, you know, it's cooler, and you can power pole down and throw some cut bait out and sit off those sand holes. And normally that's where those fish are going to lay, you know, late morning to mid afternoon to late afternoon. They're just going to be laying in that little that cool spot. And that's where we power pole up on those sand holes and chunk bait.
and pretty much pull in the same thing. So, did we lose? Did we have you, Brian? Oh, I think we lost him. Maybe. Oh, oh, oh. Hello,
Well, I
Brian.
don't know if it's a bad spot or cell phone.
Okay,
Leave him on the line. Let's see if he calls back.
okay. So
I think he might still be there, though.
I think he might.
I'm here. I'm
Oh,
here. You there?
okay.
You
There we
There
go.
we go.
We got you. So
I got you.
what
I'm
I
here.
tell people in these situations, because obviously I do all kind of crazy fishing, is I tell them that the fish, being cold blooded, are going to move to where they feel comfortable. It's no different than us walking out of the heat into our AC, kind of to where we like to be.
Correct.
So they're going to now. You correct me if I'm wrong. They're going to kind of move to that temperature wherever that temperature may be. They have an optimal temperature that they like. I mean, are we kind of
Right.
in that same pattern, and that's where we're gonna end up finding them, whatever that optimum temperature is for the fish, not for us.
Right. Right. Exactly. Now, in the wintertime, it's a reverse role. They'll get on those dark flats, dark grass bottoms.
Aha.
That water temperature is going to warm up faster. Shallow water is going to warm up with the sun. That's why in the wintertime, you see a lot of reds in a foot or less water. Sometimes with their backs out of the water up there feeding, they're in that warm water. It's a reverse roll in the wintertime.
Now, would the bait fish and the crabs and all that stuff work in that same pattern? If that grass is going to warm up first, are they all going to push up there as well? Is that kind of what you're seeing as well?
Right. I know in the wintertime we see, when we clean fish,
Mm-hmm.
We see a lot more small crabs, fiddler crabs. A lot of the redfish I've been cleaning here lately
Oh,
have
okay.
all been full of shrimp and fiddler crabs.
Okay.
And it
okay.
seems, they're in that shallow water,
Oh, okay. Makes
feeding,
sense.
trying to get those crustaceans.
Absolutely. Totally makes sense. I'll tell you what, Brian, and Mike and I are going to hook up with you again. We're trying to sort out our schedules with all of our shows. What I'd like to do is, and somehow I'm going to get you. The FWC is going to work with me. We're gonna start. I'm buying a microscope to start aging fish. Basically,
Okay,
going to
cool.
do our own research on. The olifs. They're going to teach us how to pull the olifs out, which is the way to age a fish and that kind of stuff. So. I may
Right.
incorporate you to help us out with something like that with your carcasses.
Hey, whatever you guys need, man, it'd be a pleasure to help you guys.
So here we
Anything.
are in the wintertime. We're going to fish, let's just say, these shallow water. I mean, because that estuary, the Indian River and the Mosquito Lagoon, that whole area there is just an amazing fishery. What would you recommend to, let's do a guy just going out to try to catch some fish with his son, other than calling the best man I know, which is Brian Pounds? I mean, are we going to start in the deep holes? Or are we going to start, later in the day on the grass flats? Is that kind of what we would want to do?
It's like temps right now. I mean, of course, it's freezing cold right now.
Yeah.
It's. I like in the wintertime. I don't like the cold, but then again, I like to sleep in because summertime I don't. Getting up at 3:30 in the morning. Now we're getting up at 6 to go.
Yeah.
My rule of thumb when I fish is try to always get the wind to your back. If you're soaking bait, power pole down, never move any further than a cast distance away.
Okay.
That way you're covering the water, good water column there. You're covering good water.
Wow.
And that's with cut bait. Now, when it's super calm conditions, a lot of times the redfish and trout they'll lay still. That wind gets them moving around a little bit.
Right.
So when it's calm, I like to throw artificial. You're covering more water because the fish, they're
Right.
not up moving around. They're not coming to you. You technically seems like you have to go find them, unless they're up tailing and they're giving themselves away. So when
Yeah.
it's dead calm, winter, summer, gulp shrimp, riptide jerk baits, just steadily work the water. You want to get, make 2 or 3 casts, and move. Don't, make 6 or 7 casts in one spot and move a
Yeah.
little bit. But, and then, like I said, calm conditions, artificial, definitely. And when it's windy, cut pinfish, cut mullet. That's my rule of thumb when I fish.
Well, I'll tell you what, I like your rule of thumb because you worked like a champ with us. Hey, Brian, real quick, throw out your info real quick for everybody listening. Just kind of give them your number and how they can get a hold of you. And, of course, you can always go to Rodney Rogers Outdoors. We have a link directly to Brian there, so you can find him there. But just for safety's sake, if someone wants to use you, throw out your number real quick.
You can call me 407-702-3643, or you can catch me on the web. And my website's kind of under construction right now. We've got some good things getting ready to happen with that. Contact info and everything there. That is Orlando, Florida Fishing Charter.com.
Perfect. And like always, you can always call us direct. We will always direct you straight to Brian Pounds. And trust me when I say this guy knows his stuff. We reposted your article that they wrote about you. And, of course, you mentioned us. That made it even that much better. We can't thank you enough for that.
Hey, always, man. Everybody's all in the same loop, man. We all fish together. We all hunt together. We all love the same thing, man. It's all about networking and taking care of everybody you know. So.
And that it is, Brian. Brian, thank you so much for taking your time out and giving us a call tonight, my man.
Hey, it's always a pleasure. Look forward to fishing with you guys again, man. It's sooner than later. So.
Amen.
Hey, y'all have a good evening,
hey,
man.
You as
always
well,
a
Brian.
pleasure.
Thanks,
All
Brian.
right, my man.
Thank you, guys.
All right, buddy.
All right, bye.
That's what I'm talking. That's the Mike. We're going to need a 5-hour show.
No.
I've already ascertained we don't have enough time in the day.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
When we fished with him over the summer and the water got hot, just like he said, the key is that movement, to find those areas, exactly what he said. In the summertime, it's, if you're out there early, those flats are going to get hotter quicker. You're going to push to a little bit deeper water.
But it's interesting to think of something like the lagoon is, I mean, it's a lake. I
It
mean,
is
well,
that,
the
yeah.
fish are responding to the same type of thing. They're responding to structure. They're responding to temperature and comfort, and
That's exactly right.
I mean, going where the food is. So it's similar. It's just much wider.
I never thought about that. You know what? I think that would be my new attack approach.
Yeah.
Actually, my new attack approach for Mosquito Lagoon is called Brian Pounds.
That's the perfect. It worked for us right out of the gate.
It just and that's what I would like to do. But those shallow waters, being a bass fisherman most of my life, it's in taking that over to the saltwater end of it, for snook or redfish or ladyfish, whatever it takes to even grouper hit like bass.
Yeah.
In those you can find those shallow over in Tampa Bay, find those shallow areas and hit that. So weather affects that drastically, and it's key to pay attention to that temperature. And Brian hit it right on the nose. Those grass flats warm up first, so those fish will push up in there late in the day and sit on those grass flats, unless that temperature just gets to a point where it cannot warm up. If your outside temperature stays in that 30-degree range, which is pretty dangerous for Florida fish, then they'll hold off just in those troughs. Look for those deep holes, those troughs, because in Mosquito Lagoon area, those troughs are basically a highway.
This is where your depth finder starts coming into play, right?
This is exactly where your depth finder comes into play. You want to find those deepest areas. And this is where Google, that you and I have talked about before.
Yeah.
Look at Google Maps. Mosquito Lagoon is real clear, and you can see exactly where all those troughs are.
Interesting.
And you can pin that and get right to them with a good flats boat or a kayak or something of that sort. The one thing that makes Brian Pounds good and why we used him.
Well, number one, he's been there for years.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
he knows that area like the back of his hand.
And he's there every year for the last 12 years straight out of Mosquito Lagoon, and he's done it for 30-plus years. So to have that experience, it's worth one trip to teach you the things that Brian teach you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a matter of giving up a secret spot because these fish move all over the lagoon.
But anytime you're with a guide or you can learn. I mean, it's class in session.
That's exactly right.
I mean, every time I leave the house with you, it's class in session.
I've never been a cut bait guy, and Brian, showed me that this is the way.
Oh.
If you're gonna do it at this time, this is it. So I've become a cut bait guy.
Wow.
The key is success.
Yeah. I've got another question for you.
Absolutely.
I know we're running out of time, but this was leftover from last week, and I wanted to get to because I thought it was really good. Timotrees 47 says, instead of casting and recasting a lure, is there any reason I can't slowly troll and just drag the lure away behind the boat?
No reason at all. That's a brilliant idea.
Does that work?
That absolutely works. My uncle that taught me everything I know, or pretty much it got me in this field. That's how he caught his largest bass.
Really?
Over 12 pounds.
Because the same thing, you're getting the action on the lure,
You're getting
right?
the action on the lure. That's exactly right. And if it's back behind your boat far enough, what happens is it's kind of funny, and in spec fishing it does it as well. Your boat puts out a wave ahead of your boat as it moves through the water. So if there's a school of fish, they'll part for your boat, and they'll come back together behind your boat.
Interesting.
And then as your lure trolls over it, then it goes right through that school. So he caught his largest 12.5 off that gold pala that we often fish with.
Really?
Trolling behind a trolling motor in a john boat.
Is it tough to gauge what that speed should be? Because when you're reeling, I mean, it's tough. I would think it's tough to gauge the speed of a boat. I mean, is it a canoe paddling speed? Obviously, I mean, there's got
there again. It's in that random. If
Okay.
you've, I don't know if you've ever noticed while we were fishing, I've always out the back.
Yeah.
And I just leave it. It's for that reason. Some of my biggest fish have come from just letting that grub bounce off the bottom. I'll let it sit. It's called dead sticking. I mean, there's always that method. Now, it's hard to replicate because you're not paying attention to what's going on back there.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just doing whatever.
It's just doing whatever. I know they troll like that for walleye. They do deep water trolls, and it's at a certain speed. And once they find that speed, they'll record it, and they'll go, okay, today's bite's going to be at 2 knots at 36 feet, and they're going to do their thing. So yes, that is absolutely a brilliant way. There's nothing wrong with it. I highly recommend it, but you can't do it in a fishing tournament because it is pretty effective.
Okay. Oh,
So,
really?
yeah,
So it actually does work.
Yeah, it does work. but you can't do it in a fishing tournament.
Okay.
So yeah, you have to do the retrieval method. So
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, it does work. Great question. That's absolutely a phenomenal question.
Very cool.
So, but obviously our oh man, we've talked right through a whole show, Mike. So the key is the weather affects bass fishing. I think one of the questions that I even put up on our website was, do fish bite when it's cold? They absolutely bite. They feed. Their metabolism's a little slower, so sometimes you got to fish your bait slower, meaning just throw it out and give it a super slow retrieve. Um, how do they react? It's not that they go dormant. They just remember it's the same way in the summertime. Their strike zone closes up, so you have to be a little closer to the fish. So when you do your fan casting, you will close that gap up a little bit. We're used to during the summer, I can get it about once every 20 feet. Now I'll close that fan cast up to once every
because they're not moving as much.
They're
or they're
not moving
willing
as
to
much.
move
That's
as much.
exactly
yeah.
right. If you're on a tree limb and you're just you got good depth around it, 25 casts to that tree limb, because believe me, on that 26th cast is when that fish will hit it. So don't make 2 casts and move on. This is not summertime fishing. I know we're used to that because we live in Florida and we don't normally have these cold water conditions. And pay attention to the bank. I pulled a bass off the bed this weekend. I mean, the water temperature is perfect for bedding bass. So it's going to be a hit and miss. Temperature dictates.
Is that Bed and Bath and Beyond?
Bed bassing. You did well.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I couldn't even.
Thanks. So, but Brian mentioned something that was interesting, saying that in these winter months, it's better in the afternoon, or can be better. Correct
Absolutely.
me if I'm misspeaking, but
No, yeah, absolutely.
is it the same thing if you were, because we're used to getting up in the morning and that's where the great fishing is, right after the crack of dawn, and
Yeah.
does that change in the winter months?
Well, yeah, because the reason we do it during the summer months is because overnight the water has lost about 15% of its temperature. So, it has cooled by 15%. So those bass will come up in those shallow areas, to hit that cool water, and they're able to breathe and their metabolism is picked up. So you get out there early to hold that cool water, because once the sun pops up, poof, we go from, that 70-degree temperature up to the 88, 89 degree.
Sure.
And then they push out. And what he's saying is now in the wintertime, it's just the opposite. When the sun comes up to heat that water up, that's when they'll move up into those shallow flats and start their eating. Now, that works for bass as well. So, it's just not just redfish or snook. This is bass. I'm living proof. Been a bass fisherman all my life.
Because they're temperature driven. I mean, it's
They're
a fish.
temperature driven.
Yeah.
They have an optimal temperature, that they like to have. So, if the air temperature is staying at 40 degrees for a few days, find those deep, the great, having Brian call in and explain us that, and actually put a little perspective on it for me. And I fished Mesquite Lagoon for years. I had my Mesquite Lagoon Edition flats boat that I fished it and done very well out there, but I've never, it's just hard to be consistent.
Sure. Yeah.
On that lagoon
yeah.
if you don't fish it like Brian does. So, I'm going to just throw it out there again. If you want to go catch redfish with Brian, it's worth every penny.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. Put 2 people on the boat with him, and he's going to you're going to keep pulling fish in.
Incredible. It's a good day.
Yeah.
It's a good day. If you wanna
Definitely a
catch
good
fish.
day. Whew. So, Mike, that's how we're doing on time. We're closing this thing out, ain't we? We're getting there.
You can close out a show, Rodney. You're good at closing out a show.
I can jibber jabber it all the way to the end. So we have anything coming up? We've just got some. Remember, look at our YouTube and look up Outside Opinions. Shoot us an email of something if you have something.
Ivan, we're coming your way.
Yep, we are going to be seeing you, Ivan. So hang on to your britches. He's ready for us. He said just shoot him a time. Okay. And Mike, we now have a little gun range, and we can go shoot your gun safely there. So we ought to plan on that.
Where's that at?
That's Haines City.
Okay.
So we'll just run down. There's a good barbecue place there. We'll grab Mama. Out of Brittany, we'll have meet Brittany and Randy there as well. So
love it.
There you have it. RodneyRogersOutdoors.com. Follow us on Twitter. Google Rodney Rogers Outdoors. You'll find us everywhere.
Periscope. I need to put a link to Periscope on the website.
Oh, yeah, and Periscope, yeah. And I need to do some Periscoping here lately. So I made a promise to the athlete that I'm going to cook that backstrap that I have.
Oh, cool.
Just for her.
Yeah.
We're going to put the recipe up on the website. I'm going to put the video up. Mike, you got anything else?
I don't, Rodney. I've enjoyed this hour with you as always.
Has it been an hour?
It's been an hour.
As my mama said 18 million times, and I pray that I get to say it half as much. You kids get outside and stay.